Hey, what's up, No Cap family? Welcome back to the show. Great to have y'all here. This is another special episode because we have a returning guest, second-time visitor, Vice Mayor of Fredericksburg, Mr. Chuck Frye, y'all. And I just literally learned something about this man just a few seconds ago. This is his fourth run for Vice Mayor.
Yeah, for City Council. And Vice Mayor is elected by the actual council itself. So I've been Vice Mayor since 2020, and I've been on City Council since 2014. So it's a real honor for like your fellow council members to say, hey, you know what I mean, I think he should be the Vice Mayor. So that's a good look. You know?
So you have 100% success rate with running?
Yeah. So
you never lost an election?
Nah, I came in. I came in. And I ran against someone who was holding the seat. So I ran against an incumbent on my first go around, and I actually won that by I think it was 21 votes. The first time I ran, that I won by 21 votes.
Skin of the teeth. See, that's why your vote matters, y'all. Yeah. And you running up again November 4th for the election.
Yeah. This gonna be number 4. So it's cool to still be, you know, here, still be productive and still getting stuff done.
Yeah.
And still representing for the folks. And you know, my main thing is always to speak for the folks who feel like they don't have a voice or they don't know how to navigate through stuff in the city. You know, and I don't want to say anybody can do this job, but I want folks to understand that, you know, anybody who has an inkling thinking that they can do something like this, I want them to know that they can do it. Yeah.
And see, that's what I like about you personally, because you're one of us.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
You got to be one of the people to really represent the people to the fullest extent.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people in the community see you as, like, you're out at community events.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that last weekend?
That was Brad Hill Day.
Yeah, we out there, man.
Just regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's regular. Yeah.
And what's some of the annual events that you're a part of every single year?
So, like mainly now, like it's a lot of little pocket events going on. But I started out years ago. I was hosting Peace in the Paint. So I used to do a community block party before Peace in the Paint had started. So I joined in with Keisha and Trell, you know, years back. And then my father was ill for the past couple of years. So I missed out. But I think they've been in 12 or 13, maybe 14 years. But I was at every one except for probably 2, and that was only just, you know what I mean, taking care of my old man, at that time. But yeah, I'm out there on the microphone, man, acting crazy, making the DJ cut the music off if ain't nobody scoring, you know what I'm saying? And then, later on, then the kids say, oh, wait a minute, that's our city council. You know what I'm saying? Like, the parents are telling them something like that.
See?
And that's where, I think that's where the difference is, when they say, wait, he's a regular dude. And then my day job, of course, is UPS. So folks see me on the UPS truck, and it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, but always had love for where we're from.
See, there's so much nobility in that, just being a hard-working citizen.
Yeah.
He still lives in Mayfield. I mean, right
absolutely.
in Mayfield,
Yeah.
Ain't go nowhere. What's one of the biggest changes or visions that you see for Mayfield? Because every time I go through there, man, a lot has changed. It's cleaned up.
Yeah.
It's so many changes happening there.
Yeah, I think the biggest change that I've been seeing is really the mecca of Mayfield has always been like the playground. And if you look at how the playground's now upgraded and different things, and they got the pavilion over there and the extra stage with the stage cover, and a lot of that stuff I had something to do with. ADA accessibility, folks don't think about how you navigate through the playground. So I was able to help with the walkways and all of that stuff.
It's the little things.
Yeah,
man.
everything makes a difference. Everything makes a difference.
It's all of that, and you're at all these events. They do not let you get away with not speaking. I saw how they pulled that man up. I'm like, this is a big responsibility to be in that role you in. Man.
And I try not to. I don't ever want to be in a. It's an honor. You know what I'm saying? But I never want to kind of try to feel like I'm taking over somebody's event. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm literally there just to be there. Not to be like, hey, it's me. I kind of still like the little shock factor sometimes. When folks tell somebody else, hey, that's your councilman or that's your vice mayor. Yeah. And then folks will be like, oh, for real? And they'll be like, nah, for real. That's your guy for the folks who don't know. So it's still a cool experience. I'm still living in the moment, like from 2014 to now. I'm still in the same moment when I first got elected. Like, it's just been like a grind. So, I haven't had like much time to like self-reflect or nothing like that. Like talking to you, I'm always reflecting like, yo, I did this, I did that. But I'm still in the moment actually.
It's incredible because, like you say, you were there just chilling, involved in the community. Then next thing I know, they calling you up to speak, and it's like you gotta come, But you represent. That's the thing, being authentic to who you are and what you stand for.
Yeah.
It just seems like it comes second nature to you.
It kind of does. It makes me feel like, for real, it makes me feel like my day job helps me with some of that stuff. Because you think about a UPS dude, you only see him for 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So,
right.
And it's a different interaction with all kinds of folks all the time. So you think about, a guy that's making a delivery, especially like the way that we do it, So you think about a guy that's making a delivery. He's here, he's there, but he interacted with everybody at every different stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that probably eases any, like communication barriers, anything like that. Like
you're a social dude, man.
Yeah.
Always got a mouthpiece and can speak. I mean, these episodes we do with you easy, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
But one thing, a name that everyone's probably familiar with in this area, Abigail Spanberg.
Mm-hmm.
You hear all these commercials and press and stuff like that, and I just saw like you actually brought her out.
Yeah, I actually, so I met her years ago when she was first running, I think it was 2017. And it was a cool thing for me now to say like, so last year, when they were gearing up for a runner, I actually endorsed her. So that's, I was like, wow, and in the same sense as like, to have that much respect where somebody say, hey, and then she put it out there as well saying, I've been endorsed by Vice Mayor Chuck. You know what I'm saying? So that's we us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're like, that's somebody from around the way that really did that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to be able to work with folks, and it really don't matter who's a Democrat, Republican, all that stuff, because like in my position, you got to know how to get the work done. So it's a lot of stuff that happens, and you got to know who to talk to, when stuff is going down. Because usually, like any situation I handle is a right now. Any situation I handle is a right now situation.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like we can talk about whatever we need to work on or fix.
Yeah.
But some of the phone calls I get are directly right now could be the last resort. They could have went through all 5 channels, right, to try to get something done, and you never know what the need is. So a lot of times when I get the call, it's like, it's almost like Mr. Fix It, like right now, and you just don't know what the person, what folks are dealing with. It's like, I don't love gun violence, but I love talking about like having, something to address gun violence, and like, for instance, it's on record too. Everything I say is pretty much from the city council records. It's there, it's on the minutes. But I received a call one morning, it was like, let's say 1 in the morning or so, and somebody said they had a weapon, they had a gun that they needed to get rid of, and like right now, like literally like, hey, I have a weapon and something's not right, and before anything happens, I don't want to get rid of this gun. And for me to have like the trust of the community like that, to be able to take a weapon from somebody and turn that weapon in, that's a big deal. That's trust times a million.
It's saving a life.
Something's going on. Something's going on. Something's going on. So to have that type of, relatability, or somebody could feel free enough to call me, or call somebody, hey, this guy Chuck or whatever, I got a situation and I don't even want it to escalate. I want to get rid of the gun. So to have that type of scenarios,
And when you speak of guns, I know that's something that we like. I think that initiative that you have with the gun give back program is almost identical, synonymous with you. When you think of Chuck Frye, I almost think of that, your program and that initiative.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Cause hey man, cause like love moves us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just like when we all see each other and all that stuff, it's always love. It's always dap. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff. But the same thing. Like you got to show that to the younger generation too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't have to play tough guy all the time and all that stuff. Like you see your folks and folks are doing things. You watch people in different chapters of their life. So I just want to be like really a reflection of that or example of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want folks to like if I want to be in a room, I want good vibes. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, to build that type of community trust, and like what you're saying about the gun. See, the gun give back formulated from me witnessing the murder though at 8 years old. You see what I'm saying? And so I witnessed the murder. Like a guy shot a guy. He dropped. He was dead. It was a done deal. You know what I'm saying? I never know the impact it had on me back then until I was a grown man. I know I told you before. But yeah, that's really what happened with me. And then when I was raising my kids, gun violence seemed to be a thing. And then I had to think about it. I said, wait a minute, I grew up and it was like this. And now I'm raising my kids and it's like this. You know what I mean? So that was my initial reason for running for council anyway. Just to try to address that. Everything else I learned is all extra.
And you've done quite a bit, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, the fair housing and all. Did you ever imagine you would be doing all of these?
Not at all. Not at all. But having an understanding, also because folks in different situations are brought up certain ways or know people that are going through certain things, or you don't realize how much you really know. Because like some of our normal, like that is normal to us is not normal to other people. So you don't even think about like what you know could help somebody, because you're always thinking, man, I want to get past that situation in life. I want to get past whatever it is. Yeah. But you never think about how much knowledge you gain by just being around certain things. So like I always say it's like a catchphrase for folks to say like, we need more affordable housing, but you never hear anybody say we need to protect the people that already have affordable housing. So like when it's a development thing or something like that, or a new project coming somewhere, folks, we don't want that, we want more affordable housing, we want this, we want that. That is a thing that we need, right?
Yeah.
But you never hear anybody screaming about the folks who are already getting disrespected every day. You know what I'm saying? And I have a track record of that too, because I really don't care what I say and how I say it, because if somebody's life is affected by, their living condition, we need to go at it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can't just say, I'm doing better than they are. It could be you tomorrow.
See, that's one thing I noticed about you as well, is that you when I think about violence in the community, mm-hmm. and how a tragedy will take place, and now you have all types of people coming out to show support, which is great. Mm-hmm. But the thing I've noticed about you is you get ahead of the situation and be proactive about it. Because mm-hmm. when things like that happen, it's like, hey, I'm Chuck Frye, I've been advocating for this for years.
Absolutely.
Like what exactly do we do to get ahead of it and be proactive and carry out that initiative?
Yeah, so I'm glad you said it that way, because the main thing is like, especially like with our youth, but the main thing is like sharing this option, right? That there's a program that can take a gun or whatever the case, right? But like I say, I believe that like the more we invest in our youth, like they start, respecting like kind of more or less where they're from and everything that's around them. They start respecting their surroundings, because whatever age they are, it's like it's their world next. You know what I mean? So like if we don't pour into them, right? What are they supposed to pour? And if you just disregard a kid or whatever the case, you never know what like a 2-minute conversation would do. Just a 2-minute conversation. Like you just never know what that'll do. Sometimes a kid may feel like he don't get any attention or whatever, or he feel like he can't do this or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just like if you got a kid who can't make the ball team, you know what I mean? Say you tried out and you didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? It's up to me and you to go coach Parks and Rec. Right? So they still got a chance at something. Yeah. If you think about it that way, you know what I mean? It's just like, so like when folks say, well, how can you make a difference? You know what I'm saying? It's simple. You know what I'm saying? Take a little bit of your time to involve yourself in something that's not yours. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Make it better for like the next person.
And when you speak on making it better for the next person, when I think about the next vice mayor, you said, you always have that in mind. Mm-hmm. Who's coming behind you, especially if it's from someone from the younger generation.
Yeah.
Like, what do you actually do when you're in this current position and you have a up and coming? What type of knowledge and advice do you give to people that want to get into city council?
Yeah, I'm a straight open book about that. You know what I mean? Like if somebody like really had that passion, I would not I would not stray away from sharing the information. I believe that's one thing that kind of hampered us for years. Like folks know something or somebody made it to a certain plateau, whatever that is. Yeah. Whatever that is, right? And there's always more to be done, right? So some people are like, hey, I remember when I was doing this and I'm here, and they don't share all that knowledge that they got in between. You know, so like for me, like the best way I can do is to help is like really talk to somebody about, you know, if they serious about it, I'll be happy to share like, you know, what I learned, how I learned it, and you know, whatever the case. But I will say like for somebody that wants to do something like that, like their passion has to drive them. You know what I mean? Like you can take advice, and then you know you'll see a lot of people who want to get to a certain goal. They take too much advice sometimes, and it's like, well, who are you? Like, you know what I mean? What would you do?
Right.
Don't you know? Because you know, for me, that's my thing is like making sure that I speak to something, right? Because on city council, sometimes you only have one chance to speak on the topic.
Yeah.
So
make it count.
yeah, and if you look back, you know, if you look back at it, sometimes some of the stuff I might say might not look like it makes sense to the conversation, but later if something go down, you see, I'm like, yo, that's what I was talking about 6 months ago when we were talking about this, you know.
See, being ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Man, so one thing, speaking of that, you're staying ahead of the curve. How do we get more people that's, you know, it's not that many faces your color
Mhm.
in it.
Mhm.
How do you get more? Because do you agree that we need more, and how do we get them?
Yeah, because I agree to that wholeheartedly, and for me, I can just tell you like my goal while I'm doing this, right? My goal is always to be approachable. You know what I'm saying, and to show folks that they can do it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's the way you dress. You know what I mean? Because you could turn off somebody, right? So in the same sense, like if depending on what the event is, you know what I'm saying? Like you dress for that event, but you don't really have to overdress to be like, you know, you want to stand out as like I'm the man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to dress out. I like to dress up like out of respect for like our ancestors. That's when I feel good about, you know what I'm saying, dressing up.
So
you know,
suit and tie.
yeah, for that.
Yeah.
But it depends on what's happening. It depends on what's happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, I'm real proud tonight. You know what I'm saying? but if I go speak at a school or something, I may wear a suit or something like that. But I might throw on a jacket and you know, or a sweater or something like that, and I might throw some Chuck Taylors or something on. Or, you see what I'm saying? Or something so the kids can say, you know what I mean? Because what if you want to run for council but you don't have a suit?
Right.
So
Right.
should that stop you from running for council?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So every now and then throw a t-shirt or something on, you know, not at a meeting, but while I'm out and about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To show folks, hey, you know, wait a minute, you know, he's, you know, a lot of times you recognize people because they got the suit on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'd rather blend in and then tell like some of the youngins like, hey, you can actually do this. So
Yeah.
for me, I don't know if I answered your question, but I try to be relatable.
Yeah.
And just be myself. You know, it's time to represent.
That makes sense, and
Yeah.
that does answer the question. So we have a guest that has been on the show, I think 4 times now,
Okay.
and Delegate Joshua Cole.
Yes, sir.
How closely do you all work together?
So we always can call each other, him and I. We always can call each other. And I'm gonna tell y'all the coolest thing for me was actually being on a UPS truck, and I saw Josh. I saw him out there in Stafford, in his area where he's, you know, where he's at, and I actually saw him out there knocking doors all by himself. So before what everybody sees now, right? I saw him knocking doors. I was out in a UPS truck, and I saw Josh out there knocking on doors. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm Josh Cole. I'm running for, you know what I mean? He was a page when he was a kid. He was a page in Richmond and all of that. And, you know, he was just telling folks, hey, I know about this, I know about that. And I actually saw him. So to
In
watch
action.
in action, like and by himself. So when I look at, you know what I mean? When I look at kind of like, you know, he has like staff and different folks now, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at that, I just always think about that. And probably 3 times, 4 times a year, I remind him. You know what I mean? Like, man, it's crazy. Like, I remember when you were knocking doors by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Hard working, man.
Yeah. But in order to get things done and like for community stuff and all of that, yes, I stay in touch with him and others. You know what I mean? I stay in touch with folks because you just never know what phone call you need to make.
So you agree? Do you all think? Well, do you think that you all share a lot of the same values? And what is something that you could share that y'all may be working on and people may care about?
Oh man, it's so he works on things on the state level.
Right.
So it's more or less the concerns from communities like us. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So his approach will be on a state level, and mine is right here in your face on the local level. So, you know, the main thing is being supportive, you know, of each other.
I see.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nah, cause he even said at one of his, he even said at a speech he had one time, you know, he shouted me out in the middle of it. It was his speech, it wasn't mine. You know, and he shouted me out saying, hey, you know, I didn't, you know, when I saw the Chuck Frye doing it, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It made me realize that, you know, so he showed me some love, and I respect that, you know what I'm saying? But the main thing is like being supportive, because you don't know, like, we got our day-to-day things that we deal with too, you know, our regular life, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you never know what's going on in somebody's regular life, and then they pushing this for everybody else. So this is a position where you absolutely put yourself last.
Yeah, you're a public service.
Yeah.
You're a public service.
Absolutely.
And that's why I was thinking, are you more of his ear to the street then, since you're on the ground?
Nah, he gets around pretty good.
Okay.
He gets around on his own pretty good, you know. But if there's ever something going on, there's always a conversation we can have.
Okay.
You know? So I think that communication, you know, that folks have, you know, I think it's important. And everything I talk about is real. It's like, you know, I don't. When I'm talking to certain people, I don't waste my conversations. Like, because it's like, hey, whatever we need to get to, you know what I'm saying? I want to get to that, you know. But he does a good job advocating for folks, and I think he has, not to speak for him, but I think he has the same goals and missions of like speaking for folks who feel like they don't have a voice or know that they don't have a voice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think the way that he pushes, you know, for folks, I think it's similar to myself.
Yeah. So I want to give you. It's not necessarily bragging, but I definitely want to speak on your accomplishments, like the tax, because I didn't have any idea that you were involved in, you know, the tax revenue. What exactly, what changes have you done, or initiatives have you brought up with the taxes?
Well, for instance, though, we just voted on something that was kind of controversial, which is a data center to be in Fredericksburg. And data centers are going up all around in the counties, and they can generate a lot of revenue. So I just say, futuristically, that's something that we just worked on the council. That we voted to get our first data center, and it'll bring in upwards to $50 to $60 million. Don't quote me on the exact amount until that project is done, right?
Okay.
But you're talking about $50, $60 million. Let's call it 50, you know, just for conversations.
Okay.
So $50 million in tax revenue for the future, right? So that's huge, because now we can cut down on real estate taxes, or you know what I'm saying, or we don't have to raise taxes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We still take care of our needs. We can still hire first responders. We can still pay teachers more. You see what I'm saying? Without making the taxpayer pay more money, because the cost of living is high in Fredericksburg already. And that's why I was saying about the affordable housing conversation. Yeah, affordable housing is an issue, but taking care of the folks in affordable housing is a bigger issue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with more tax revenue that we can bring in, economic development, you know, stuff. So that is like that's going to be a major change in Fredericksburg. So we're not seeing it now because everything's in the works now. But once that project is completed in the future for the city itself of Fredericksburg, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, that's going to help a lot. And something that you mentioned earlier, you said, you know, it'd be the little things, the things that you're just mindful of, like reading the room, reading the community, what the needs are, like the disability accessible.
Yeah, ADA accessibility.
Yeah, stuff like that. I think about, you know, the small things that you do that turn into big wins.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like because it's the little things, like the slave block.
Oh man, that was the removal of the slave block was huge, right? That transformed the whole community. Removing that slave block transformed the whole. I'm talking about because now, if you walk around Fredericksburg, you see the markers around. You see these different markers around talking about African American history and all that stuff. You go down by New Site or by the post office, right down the street from here, where we are right at the current moment. But you go down Princess Anne Street, you see the Green Book, you see the Freedom Riders. Like the Freedom Riders' first stop was in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Yeah.
So how would you know that, right? You know, so removing the slave block, it really removed like barriers, right?
Right.
It really tore barriers down to where like, okay, now we're gonna be open about the reality of what's real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it came from doing that. The conversation started from doing that, and to lose that vote the first time, you know, 6-1, where I lost that vote, you know, to remove the slave block, and then it turned over to 6-1 to remove it. You get what I'm saying? So first I stayed consistent with it and never gave up, and now the slave block is gone. But in the meantime, We have all of these stories in the city of Fredericksburg. People don't know that the Falmouth Bridge, the same bridge we crossed to get to Stafford County, right? You know what I'm saying? To cross that Rappahannock River. John D. Baptiste, or the Baptiste family had a ferry, and that's right up on Caroline Street. It was a ferry that actually carried people across the Rappahannock River. So before there was a bridge, and that was a black man. So think about that.
So all of these change, because I think things like that is changing the identity and the mentality and
Yeah.
making people face the harsh reality, the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so with thinking of that, even like the MLK bridge.
Absolutely.
You know, like you're making
These
change-
like
but they turn into big successes.
Yeah, and the coolest thing for me is to still be able to talk about it when folks, you tell somebody about the Dr. MLK Jr. Bridge, and folks be like, I didn't know about that. I didn't, I'm not disappointed about that, right? I wish more folks knew,
Yeah.
but to be able to tell them is also cool. Like, hey, we got an MLK Bridge in Fredericksburg, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, and then on top of that, it's the overpass over 95 by Bragg Hill and Heritage Park, Wegmans and the Mercedes dealership, right?
Right.
It's that bridge, right? It's that bridge. So actually on 95, there are brown signs that say this is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Bridge. And on Fall Hill Avenue, when you come up to the bridge on both sides, it says it right there. It's right there in your face.
So let me ask you, all of these changes that you're making, are these all conjured up in Chuck Frye's mind, or do you have people on the ground feeding you like you want this?
So the gun give back was my idea. That was my idea, and then I had the idea. I knew how to get it done. And then when I came on council, because when I was running the first time, I didn't want to tell folks that that's what my goal was. But that was my number one goal.
Okay.
Nothing else I didn't care about. And today that's still my number one goal, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know what everything was going to be about when I got on council. I just knew I knew we didn't have a voice, and I knew that at that time gun violence, and it still is, gun violence was an issue, and I felt like nobody was addressing it. And I'm like, okay, so instead of complaining about it or going knocking on somebody's door in the city and say, how do we fix this? Nah, come up with something. So I came up with that, and then I partnered up, of course, made it a city program. With the Fredericksburg Police Department, Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
And that's your taxpayers' money going to the best source. You know what I'm saying? Like, we already paying our first responders, we're already paying our police department, we're already paying our sheriff's department. So the same scenario. If there's a weapon involved in a crime, they're gonna be the same ones processing that gun, right?
Right.
So now they're processing the gun on a voluntary basis. So it's the same thing. It's just like you said, it's proactive. It's before anything happens. So if you're gonna pay your police department, I don't know, 30 hours overtime to investigate a shooting. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But yet the same officer can take that gun from you in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I always hear that you sort of fail your way to success.
Yeah.
Since you've been of public service, is there anything that you feel has been a failure that has led to a big success?
Yeah, I would go directly back to the slave block. I would go directly back to that, because the fact that it was a win to have the conversation, right? Already, just to start that conversation was a big deal.
Yeah.
But to lose that vote on the failure side, right? To lose that vote was the biggest transition for me of just something bad that turned into something great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it had to take so much courage to even bring something like that up to the. Because like you say, that wasn't your primary objective.
Nah.
It was all the gun.
Yeah. But once I, we all felt a certain way, or felt a certain way about Fredericksburg. And a lot of folks that I grew up with, and I'm pretty sure in your generation as well, I'm just a step ahead of you in the generational side. So I think that my feeling was from older folks on down was that people didn't feel comfortable over town. And that's, if you look at downtown city of Fredericksburg, that should be your living room, right? You know what I'm saying? So wherever you live at, you know what I mean, anything going on downtown, you should feel a part of that, And a lot of people didn't feel welcome in their own city, So that's why folks would stay in their little pockets around the area, right? They just kind of stay where they are, and whatever was out there, they just whatever.
Right.
Didn't matter if it was a fast food joint or a small restaurant somewhere. Folks would just go there. They wouldn't go downtown. So I believe that when removing that slave block, it put people at ease and say, okay, now I feel like this is my city.
So how many years in total has it been of the gun give back? How
Oh,
long has that been?
Since I came on in 2014, so it's been 11 years already.
11 years. Have you seen it from your perspective? Have
Yeah.
you seen it go through stages?
The first one, I think we collected 67 guns in 4 hours. So I started out as a program. We started as a program. Excuse me. We started as a program, and for a 4-hour program. And there was a lot of naysayers, and plus the city went to court. We had some gun rights folks that were saying, "Oh, don't take my guns," and all of that nonsense, not understanding what the program was about. So the city got sued. And we lost. They lost. The city won, so we were able to continue and proceed with the gun give back. 4 hours we had 67 guns. In the last 11 years, over 200 guns we've collected, right? Over 200. But now, the biggest part now is that it's not just a program. It's not a 4-hour program. Now it's 24/7. And that's how, like, when I got that call at 1 in the morning, I was able to take that.
Respond.
Right. It's a 24, like right now, if somebody has a weapon, or especially like some of these parents out here, or anybody who might think a little younger in their family has a gun, you know what I mean? And go get that gun and turn it in.
Yeah.
There's no questions asked.
So what do you think the future or the legacy of the gun give back program? What do you envision it to be 10, 20 years?
Oh yeah, now I'm getting the hype now. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what should happen is every locality starting around us should latch onto it and do
There
it,
you go.
right? Instead of running your mouth about, oh, there was a shooting. Shut up, make this a program, right? And get to it. Like, that's how I feel about it. I want it to be something futuristically, like what you're saying. I want it to be something that's available in every community, everywhere, right? You know what I'm saying? Everywhere. Because people get it mixed up with a gun buyback, which when there's a transaction there where somebody's giving up money, or somebody might get $250 or whatever that locality might be doing. This is just like the prescription drug program. When folks have prescription drugs in the house, they just want to turn those drugs in, right? This is the same scenario. So I want to see the Fredericksburg gun give back turn into like the gun give back of every community, right? Every community. We can start with the localities around us, but nobody is latched on. So whoever local, my neighbors, jump on this, or you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't complain about the gun shootings if you don't have a plan in action. That's how I feel about it. I feel that strongly about it. And for the state level, I hope that maybe we can make some moves on that. Not really a maybe, but I hope that we can make some moves on making this a program that should be done everywhere.
Okay.
As an option, because it's not about, if you look at violence, you look at suicide, you look at all kinds of things, all the what ifs, right? And if you can eliminate accidental shootings, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If folks, it's a voluntary program, so if folks don't feel comfortable with their weapon, there's an option to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that's just the whole point. It's
No
just real
harm in
simple.
that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
So you think it's running smoothly? You just think expansion?
Absolutely. Absolutely, and being like, we're the proven locality that it works. You know what I'm saying? We're the proven locality that it works. So, I mean, if more folks would do it, I think, that'd be better. And reaching, like, if anybody wants to talk to me about anything, like as a council representative, if anybody approaches me about anything that's done on council or whatever, my conversation usually goes with that person, especially like a media person or something like that.
Yeah.
I start talking about that. You know what I'm saying? You want to get a reaction from me, talk to me about some guns. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk to me about something we talked about at a meeting. Because if you ain't covering me on guns, I don't care if you cover me on anything else. I'm that serious about it though. Yeah, I'm that serious about it. Because, like, what am I here for if I can't make a difference, right? Yeah, and the way to do it is to have stuff that's in the minutes that's like pretty much policy. Yeah, something that can be done. And this can be done if I'm here or not.
And do you have the statistics to show, like, is all of that?
See, well, there are no statistics to say, well, this gun saved a life. But, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or out of 200 guns or whatever the case, and this gun saved, there are no statistics, but that person that, right? I look at those numbers itself as the statistics.
The statistics.
Yeah,
the
because
amount of guns collected.
Absolutely, because it was a reason for them.
You can turn it in.
They could sell it. But they decided, no, I want to turn this in. I don't want it around.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the numbers itself. And then some folks would say, well, other localities or bigger cities, they did this and they did that. Yeah, they did a gun program, a gun buyback program, not a give back. where those guns went to the hands of gun dealers. So those guns are still coming back. So what was your point of doing that?
Did you have to deal with a lot of the, the gun advocates?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to deal with them when you were rolling this out and
Mm-hmm.
fighting for
Yeah,
this?
that's where the lawsuit came from. So we had some gun folks sued the city about the program, and then they actually gave us some major publicity because when the first gun give back that we had, the first 4-hour event that we ever did, they were out with signs and
Wow.
they were out with signs and
Protesting against
bullhorns and people were pulling in and they were like it was like a sideshow and people were pulling in, to meet us to go turn a weapon in, and they were like, why don't you just buy it? I'll give you money for it. They were doing all that kind of stuff. So they were trying to stop them from coming and turning a weapon in, and those folks didn't have no care for those folks. They keep their window up, whatever the case, and went right past it. Like, they were on a mission for whatever they wanted to do. But they were actually right out in front of our event with signs and big signs. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
and you say that led to more press and
Absolutely.
notoriety for this
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we already put it out there, so the folks are already coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess they just kind of look like cheerleaders at the end.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Free
They brought
press.
us free press. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we, like I say, 67 the first time, and then every year. And my biggest thing about my biggest situation with the gun give back was we had a snowstorm one morning. It was the day of the gun give back. We actually canceled it, right, because of the snow. The snow had hit at like 4 in the morning, about 9 o'clock, so it was bad, right? It was real bad. And I was like, well, let me just go up there anyway, because what if somebody had planned to come bring a gun, right? And it really happened. Like people pulling up in the snow. Yeah, and we were like, well, we canceled the event. They was like, well, we brought the gun. They're like, no problem. Yeah.
So what do you think is happening in these communities that don't have this in place? What's happening with all those guns?
You mean the guns that are probably out here?
That if they had
A program.
a program like yours, they would give it back, but there is no program
Right.
like yours.
I think that's where a lot of madness comes from. Because if there's a scenario where an adult or somebody can intervene, maybe a bigger brother, big sister, who knows, right? Who knows the situation, right?
Yeah.
If there's a situation at that moment where somebody's in panic mode or somebody's super severely depressed or, or super mad, right?
Right.
And it could be that moment when somebody say, I'm going to the closet and get granddad's gun or something. You see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
never know the situation. And there might be the point there where maybe granddad that day says, I don't know about this. Because my grandson, and now his temper going crazy, he think he gonna grab a gun. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that might be the point where somebody turns that gun in. Or what is the scenario? I still wonder about this type of scenario. What happens when somebody finds their weapon in their teenager's possession?
That part.
And they scared to turn. Now they scared to tell, or they scared to do something with the gun because they scared that their teenager's gonna get locked up, right? So if you had a no questions asked policy, there's nothing's gonna happen. And you don't know how that kid got the gun. You don't know how, the parent's not gonna know and he's not gonna tell them the truth.
Yeah.
So if you can take that gun and turn it in, I believe that's a deal breaker. Because how many guns out here that folks have that they know somebody in their family has, but they don't know what to do because they're scared somebody going to jail. Or what if a kid found a gun? We've heard stories like that before. Yeah. He found a gun, now what? What do you do now? You just gonna throw it back outside? You see what I'm saying? Or, if you found a gun by the tree somewhere and on a trail in the woods, what are you going to do with it? Because now you had it for a week or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, I found this gun. Somebody, you need to get rid of that gun. What they going to do? They're going to put it back somewhere else. Somebody else going to find it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to turn a gun in, what do they do? Where do they go?
So they can actually go to the police department and say, I have a weapon I want to turn in. It's that simple.
That easy.
Yeah. But again, it's that simple.
And you mentioned somebody called you at one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you really that accessible and just open for calls?
Absolutely. Because if that phone ring at that time, then you don't know what that call is. So obviously it's got to be important.
So are they calling you personally?
Yeah, those are personal phone calls. Yeah, so somebody's like, hey, Chuck, or whatever the case, and whatever, yeah. Yeah, one day I got a call, I was sitting in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and somebody called me and said they had a gun, they need to get rid of it right now, something's wrong. And I had to wait through like the 5 cars in front of me to get through the line, the checkout line, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
the drive-thru. And yeah, I was left from the drive-thru line and met the person, got the weapon, turned the weapon in.
So you're on duty. You know how cops on duty certain hours. You
24/7. 24/7.
Man,
Yeah.
what's the biggest challenge of public service?
The biggest challenge I would say is timing and your schedule, and but knowing what the goals are, it takes over that. You know what I'm saying? I don't like nonsense, but nonsense happens sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But the biggest thing is putting yourself last. And for me to balance my whole family and all of that stuff, and yeah, that's the biggest part. But the reward for others is bigger than something that's for me.
So you've been in the city council since 2014.
14.
Has there? I'm sure there's a lot of long-serving public councilmen.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that has always just had it out for Chuck Frye and just butt heads with you?
Nah, not really. Nah.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of in my own zone.
In your own lane.
Yeah, I'm in my own lane, and it's like, sometimes people don't understand some of the conversations they give me sometimes, or something they don't like. You know what I mean? I'm able to take that and rock with it.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, what about this or what about that? It's like little things, like we were talking about earlier. It's little things. Yeah, and it means a lot.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
So what do you want the voters out there to know for your upcoming November 4th election?
For November 4th, I just tell folks to chuck the vote. That's what I've been saying. Chuck the vote.
Chuck the vote.
Yeah.
I like
chuck
that.
it up. Yeah. People be like, oh, Ward 4, we on 1. People be hyped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even recently, I've been out putting, I've been out running around with like yard signs and stuff.
They everywhere.
Yeah, and it's cool though, because I'm gonna tell you the coolest part of that, right? Is being tired and going out there and then somebody yelling from down the street or across the street, where my sign at, Chuck? I mean, they talk to me like, they talk to me like I'm their brother, their grandson, or whatever. They talk to me, hey Chuck, where my sign? I'm like, I'm coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm out there, like, I've been out there before work in the morning. I'm out there at night sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm putting them signs up, and it's just, and I'm keeping tabs on like who's saying they want a sign. But it's just so cool when I'm going out. So I'm like, yo, where my sign at? And somebody said, I want 2 signs. Guess what? They got 2 signs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're like, you ain't give me a sign yet, so I want 2. I was like, no problem. Next day, 2 signs. But it's that for me. That's the momentum. You know what I mean? And like the people saying, hey, more or less like a thank you and a congratulations, and I want to see you do it again. Yeah,
they're rooting for you, man. So what you want to tell those people, man, that are in your corner?
Yeah. For everybody that's in the corner, I want to say I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm hoping that I continue to make y'all happy. It's a job that you put yourself last, but I'm pushing for the folks. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good.
Man, shout out to Chuck Frye. Make sure y'all go vote November 4th. Y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and share this video with all your friends, man. We need to vote, man.
All right.
No Cap Radio, we out.